Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Heisman Talk, your number one source of college football news on YouTube. I'm Nate Dogg here with my co-host, Devonair D. Jackson, to break down Week 13 of our Game Day Pick'ems. And D, we've been off for a couple weeks now, had a couple issues with travel and uploading and all sorts of stuff happened to us, so we apologize for the delay. But man, are we happy to be back, and what a great week to be back in. Rivalry week, if I can pronounce that right. So D, let's update everyone on our current standings, erasing the last 2 weeks because we really didn't have the chance to pick any games. You currently stand at 36 and 32, and I am 43 and 25. But D, we've got bowl season coming up, so we've got a lot of great games still ahead. But D, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Our first game of the week is actually a Thursday kickoff. That's tonight when it will be airing at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. That is the number 9 Ole Miss Rebels go on the road to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And most would think a top 10 team versus an unranked team, well, this is a no-brainer. But D, Vegas thinks otherwise. Mississippi State currently favored by 2 points. Who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, Nate, glad to be back, talking about college football here on rivalry week. Very tough to say. But in this game, man, Ole Miss at Mississippi State, very, very tough game. You got two high-powered offenses, two defenses that aren't, the greatest of defenses. I'm taking Ole Miss, man. I think Kiffin and Matt Corral are going to go in there and get their 10th victory. I just think that Ole Miss's offense is the more high-powered offense, and that's why I'm taking Ole Miss.
Yeah, D, Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral, what a great combo, what a great duo. One of the best we've seen in years. Coming into the Egg Bowl, that is, the Egg Bowl, big rivalry game. Ole Miss leads this series 63-46. The Rebels are currently on a one-game win streak. But Mississippi State given a 52.6% chance to win, D. And the Bulldogs on offense are just as good pound for pound as Ole Miss is, right? I mean, everyone wants to talk about Matt Corral and his Heisman campaign, but what about Will Rogers? Over 4,000 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. He's had a great game. He's had a great year as well, D. But Ole Miss equally, like I said, Matt Corral, a.k.a. Mr. Heisman, 3,100 yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This is going to be a game of just West Coast versus air raid, right? It's just going to be who has the ball last. In the Indy, I'm actually going to take the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I think they get it in the upset because of their defense. I think they have a slight edge with home field advantage, and I think they're slightly better on the defensive side of the ball. So give me the Bulldogs in an upset to start off the day. So then we go to our next game of the week. That is on Friday, a 1:30 kickoff on BIG10 Network. Kind of surprised, even with, the rankings and the overall records of these two teams, that it's not on a major channel with the history of this rivalry. But that being the number 16 Iowa Hawkeyes go into Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the CornHuskers. Iowa only favored in this one by 1.5 points. D, this is also known as the Heroes Game. Who wins this rivalry?
Yeah, Nate, like you said, it's a tight spread, man. Vegas thinks it's a coin flip, even with Nebraska only being a 3-win team. It's going to be tough, I think, for Iowa. They haven't really played well this season. Their defense has, but Spencer Petras has not played very well. Nebraska just hasn't played very well. I'm going to go with Iowa just because of that defense, man. I think they'll be able to slow down Martinez and the Nebraska offense. And so, yeah, give me Iowa to win the game.
D, Nebraska leads this series 29-19 overall. Iowa currently on a 6-game win streak in this rivalry series. The first time these two teams played, guess the year, D, 1891. Iowa won that game 22-0. Nebraska given a 57.6% chance to win, according to ESPN.com. And unfortunately for the CornHuskers, Adrian Martinez is out for this game due to injury. They're going to have to rely on sophomore quarterback Logan Smothers, who's just as good, in my opinion, with his ability to run, right, with a dual threat purpose. Fortunately for the Cornhuskers, Iowa is without their whole offense. They haven't been able to score any points all year. Sorry, taking a dig there at the Hawkeyes. But, no, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think this is going to come down in the trenches. I think this is going to be one of those Big Ten, big, manly games that's won in the trenches. And because of that, give me the Cornhuskers, D. I'm going with another upset. Maybe this is the week of the upsets, but I'm going with the Cornhuskers. I really think this is the week at home in Lincoln, Nebraska, that Scott Frost and the Cornhuskers get it done with their backup quarterback. Give me the Huskers. So then we go to our next rivalry game of the week. That is the Oregon State Beavers versus the number 11 Oregon Ducks in the Civil War. This is played in Eugene at Oregon. This is a 3:30 kickoff on Saturday on ESPN. Oregon currently favored by 7. Oregon, we saw them get destroyed last week against Utah. Not even close. D, can they bounce back? Who wins this game?
Yeah, man, I think that, like you said, Oregon did not play well last week, but I think that they're going to turn it around at home and get the job done. I'm going to take Oregon in this game. Oregon has a very talented defense. They have a lot of guys on that defense that are very talented, and Dante Manning and Kayvon Thibodeau and, Noah Sewell. But, give me Oregon. Oregon State's offense is very talented, but I think that Oregon will be able to come through and win the game.
D, I told you, this is the week of the upsets. I'm going upset again. I'm going Oregon State. I'm taking the Beavers, and I'll tell you why. I watched Oregon last week get smothered in the run defense. They could not stop Utah if they wanted to. And Oregon State with B.J. Baylor has had a tremendous year, over 1,000 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns. I'm taking Oregon State because of the run game.
Yeah, it'll be a good one, man. It'll be a good game.
Absolutely. It always is. So then we go to our next game of the week, a Big 10 East rivalry. That is the Penn State Nittany Lions go on the road to take on the number 12 Michigan State Spartans. The Spartans, another team that we saw just got obliterated last week against Ohio State. Can they bounce back? This is a 3:30 kickoff on ABC. Penn State actually favored in this game by 1 point. D, who wins this Big Ten East rivalry?
Yeah, man. Penn State going on the road, against Michigan State. Michigan State being able to, play at home after, losing pretty bad last week to Michigan. Man, I'm going to go with Penn State. If Sean Clifford comes in and he's fully healthy, I'm going to go with Penn State. I think Penn State will be the better football team in this game. I think they are the better defensive team. And I think that, I think that they'll definitely come through and win this game. So, actually, Michigan State play Ohio State, my bad.
Yeah, D, one of the most coolest facts about this series is it's actually tied right now at 17 apiece, and Penn State's currently on a two-win win streak. Yeah, two-win win streak in this rivalry. Look, we saw Michigan State get destroyed last week against Ohio State, right? But I think they bounce back this week, D. I'm going to take the Spartans. I really don't think Sean Clifford is fully healthy, and that Spartans defense is really good, especially in the run game. And I know that the secondary has had a lot of trouble this year for the Spartans, but I don't think that will be an issue with Sean Clifford not fully healthy. Give me the Spartans. Give me Peyton Thorne, Kenneth Walker, Jaden Reed, and Jalen Naylor have had a huge year for the Spartans on offense. Give me Michigan State in this one. So then we go to one of my favorite rivalries of the week, and kind of an odd one. The number 15 Texas A&M Aggies go on the road to take on the LSU Tigers. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. A&M currently favored by 6.5. D. Over the past few years, we've seen this rivalry play out, and we've always had great finishes, right? I mean, we had one game where I think each team scored over 70 points a few years ago, if I remember that correctly. So I'm looking forward to another game, but not sure if it's going to be as much of an offensive game as it's been in the past. This will be Coach O's last game at LSU. Can he finish out on a strong note? D, who wins this game?
And they LSU might be amped up, man. They might be amped up for Edo, and most of those guys are his guys. So to send him out with a win, might be a big thing. Texas A&M has been very disappointing. They beat Alabama, and then they just they gave away a game early to Arkansas, lost to Mississippi State, and so it's like they beat Alabama, but they can't beat anybody else in the West. I'm going to go with them, though, in this game. I'm going to go with A&M just because I do think they have the better team. I think they have the better defense, and I think they'll come out and at least be ready to go in this rivalry game.
Yeah, D, I don't think people really understand how far this rivalry dates back, because when you think of rivalries, you think of Alabama, LSU, you think of Alabama, Tennessee, you think of Georgia, Auburn. But this rivalry dates back to the year of 1899. A&M won that game in College Station 52-0. So, yeah, this rivalry dates back years and years ago. So let me put that out there first and foremost. But D, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm going to take the Texas A&M Aggies. I think they get back on track this week. Zach Calzada has done an amazing job this season taking over when they needed him to step up most. Gets a big win against Alabama earlier in the season. I think they pick up another win in this one. If LSU has a chance to win this game, they're really going to have to rely on running back Ty Davis-Price. 919 yards, 6 touchdowns. But I think that A&M defense is just too stout. Give me the Aggies. D, then we go out to the Big 12 in what is a huge game with huge implications. The Bedlam Series, as it's called. The number 10 Oklahoma Sooners go on the road to Stillwater to take on the number 7 Oklahoma State Cowboys. This is a 7:30 kickoff on ABC. Oklahoma State currently favored by 4 in this game. D, whoever wins this game goes to the Big 12 championship and probably takes on Baylor. Who wins this big rivalry?
Yeah, man, my big question for this game is, can Oklahoma's defense step up? We know that they have a quarterback controversy on offense with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams. I don't think that their defense will step up, and with that quarterback controversy, I'm going to take Spencer Sanders in the Oklahoma State and Oklahoma State. I just think that they're going to be the better team. I think Jaylen Warren's going to be able to, get whatever he wants. I think Spencer Sanders is going to be able to throw the ball well and, run the ball well. And I think Oklahoma State's defense will step up where Oklahoma's defense won't step up. Give me Oklahoma State at home.
D, this will probably be the last time we see these two teams face each other in the Big 12 potentially if Oklahoma goes early to the SEC. Not only that, but when's the last time we've seen these two teams ranked in the top 10, right? This has huge implications all around for bragging rights, recruiting in state, and biggest thing is playoff and Big 12 championship contentions. But D, Oklahoma leads this series 90-18. I mean, it's not even close. Sooners are on a 6-game win streak right now. Oklahoma won the first game in this rivalry 75-0 back in 1904. So this rivalry dates back as well. Oklahoma State currently given a 54.4% chance to win according to ESPN.com. Look, this is going to be the Sooners offense versus the Cowboys defense. Sooners are averaging 38 points on offense. The Cowboys are allowing only 14 points per game, which is crazy to think about in the Big 12. It's probably one of the best defensive stands we've seen all season, not just in the Big 12, but in the whole college football world. I would rank them up there probably in the top 5, if not top 3 defenses this year. So, yeah, I think it's really going to come down to, can Caleb Williams step up? Can he make the plays when they need him to make the plays? And also, can wide receiver Marvin Mims come up big for Caleb Williams? I don't know. The Cowboys offensively on the Oklahoma State side start with their ground game under running back Jaron Warren, like you mentioned. Over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. What a great pickup for the Cowboys this year as he transferred from Utah State. Can quarterback Spencer Sanders for the Oklahoma State Cowboys sustain drives? Can he keep himself from making poor decisions when the big plays matter most? I think he can. I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one, and I'm ready for the Baylor versus Oklahoma State defensive matchup in the Big 12 championship in just a week or two. Give me the Oklahoma State Cowboys. So, then we go to our game of the week. You're there at the big house. I've got the helmets behind me. A top 5 matchup. Can you believe it, D? The number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes go on the road, take on the number 5 Michigan Wolverines. An early kickoff, 12 o'clock on Fox. Going to be a chilly one, 23 degrees at kickoff. Ohio State currently favored by 8 points in this game. The Wolverines are looking to get on track and finally beat the Ohio State Buckeyes with Jim Harbaugh. Can he break the curse? D, give us your info. Who wins this game?
Oh, man. Like you said, it's a great matchup of two really good top 5 teams, man. It's kind of funny because at the beginning of the year, everybody was saying, Michigan was playing really well. Ohio State had lost to Oregon and wasn't playing so well. Everybody was saying, is this the year that Harbaugh finally beats Ohio State? They were saying it has to be the year. It has to be the year. And here comes Ohio State. And Ohio State has been showing out the last few weeks, man. They were, beating Michigan State 49-0 in the first half last weekend. It was absolutely ridiculous. Their offense is going just bananas, man. They're going crazy. And so, I think C.J. Stroud and those group of receivers with, Chris Olave and, Jackson Smith, I'm definitely going to take Ohio State, man. I got to take Ohio State. I like Michigan's defense, but Michigan's defense wasn't, able to stop Michigan State's offense when they played in the crunch, So I'm going to take Ohio State's offense to put up a lot of points. Give me Ohio State to cover. I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns or more.
D, another rivalry that dates back years ago to 1897 where Michigan won that game 34-0. Things have kind of changed since then. Michigan still leads the series 58-51, but Ohio State is currently on an 8-game win streak. This rivalry is also known as the 10-year war, but I'm calling this one the 5-year war for head coach Jim Harbaugh. Can he beat Ohio State, D? The Buckeyes are given a 61.8% chance to win. Look, Ohio State is clicking on all cylinders. I've been hard on C.J. Stroud all year, but I've seen him in recent weeks, and this kid is something special. It'll be interesting to see how he performs next year when all of his receivers are off in the NFL, but, man, has he done great this year. Honestly, I don't think this comes down to the passing game. I think this comes down to the run game, specifically Michigan's run game under running back Hassan Haskins, who's rushed for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. Can Michigan keep Ohio State's offense off the field long enough, sustain some drives, but also finish in the red zone, not with field goals, because you're going to need some touchdowns? I just don't see it. I'm going to take the Buckeyes. I think they win by at least 14 points. I don't think this one's going to be close, unfortunately. But D, with that being said, that's a wrap for today. We hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you eat all the food you can eat. And get ready because championship weekend is right around the corner. We've got some great matchups ahead. Until then, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, down below, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you share with your friends. And make sure that bell notification's turned on so you can stay up to date when we post our latest video. As always, this is Nate Dogg and D signing off.